another episode. This is your boy Bomber. Today I'm riding around. I'm expressing my personal opinion on why I think cruiser bikes, and particularly Harley-Davidsons, are better than sports bikes. Hope you enjoyed the video. Importantly, with the new rules based through what YouTube are doing to smaller subscribers, smaller channels, we need subscribers. So guys, I'm going to ask you, hit me up for a subscribe thanks. On some of my videos, I notice I get under 100 views, sometimes over 1,000 views, sometimes over 10,000 views. The interesting feature on that is I only have maybe 200 subs, but some of my videos are getting a lot more views, and if that's the case, then I'm not really getting people subscribing. Happy to hear your comments on what you think my channel needs. But yeah, if you can, please hit that subscribe button. What's a personal experience of my own moving from sports bikes to cruiser bikes, particularly again Harley-Davidson advantage is when you ride, you can be a little bit rebellious. People kind of expect it. They think you're a badass when really you're just out riding, like I am today with these boys. And if you tend to push the boundaries a little bit, you kind of get left alone. Maybe there's a bit of an intimidation factor because of the image of the bikes. Either way, I still think it's an advantage. So, another thing I want to mention about why I like Harley-Davidson so much, and something which is surprising that hasn't been caught on by other motorcycle companies, is the fact that Harley-Davidsons have indicators left and right on either side, which makes sense to me and most people who ride them. And the other awesome thing is they're self-counselling. I don't understand, why wouldn't other companies do this? It's such an easy feature, left, right, on, and you don't have to worry about turning it off. How many times do you ride in groups or just follow another motorcycle, and what they do is they forget to cancel the indicator. This is probably a little bit problematic to vehicles that are following, because they're not sure exactly about where they're going and whatever else. Anyway, for me, that's another bonus as to why I prefer the Harley-Davidsons, the indicators. Customization of a cruiser bike is second to none. One of the biggest things is when you're in a group, I suppose with Harleys as well, they all look just that little bit different. Each one has its own dress up, its own pimped up version for the rider. Unfortunately, the way I see it with sports bikes is they're all the same. If you look at a Repsol Honda CBR 250 and exactly the same bike but in the 1000, the paint job, everything looks the same. To a person who knows nothing about bikes, the only way they can tell, realistically, is the size of the tyres. Otherwise, the bikes are the same. So with a cruiser bike and with Harleys, there's so much modifications that you can do to them. You dress them up, they become your own. that's a different advantage as to why I would buy, and I have bought, a Harley-Davidson over a sports bike, even though I used to own sports bikes. Going to pull up in a second down here somewhere, and I want to point out another great feature of my experience with Harley. Not necessarily all cruiser bikes, definitely not on sports bikes. I'll just zip around here. I'll just pull up here and I'll point something out. So, one of the great features that you'll find on Harley-Davidsons is the length of the kickstand or the foot stand, right? The bike stand. You'll notice how long it is. So actually when you park it, you can find even surface a lot easier, whereas what I found is on a sports bike usually you've only got that much, right? So this thing, when it kicks under, it comes up to about here. It's very easy to operate, but yeah, definitely a big advantage on uneven surfaces, on leaning roads. Most Harleys are pretty low anyway, so you can see it tilts over a fair bit. But yeah, another definite advantage for the cruiser bikes or Harley-Davidsons to sports bikes. Pretty windy today. Another advantage for the Harley-Davidson. Anybody who rides a sports bike will know the importance of tyre pressure. A couple of pounds of pressure, PSI on the tyre will definitely affect the handling of the bike. One thing I've noticed that going from a sports bike to a cruiser is that normally it's not that bad. Yeah, you should always have the correct tyre pressure, but if it drops a little bit, say you don't ride for a while, you can feel it, but it's not as dangerous. I suppose on a sports bike the effect is crazy. If your front tyre drops too low, yeah, not a good day. It really affects your cornering, even slow speed cornering. So yeah, tyre pressure is again in favour of the cruiser. In my case, the Harley-Davidson. I think another definite advantage to riding a cruiser bike is the sound. I do like the sound of the Aprilia RSV4. I think that's a really tough sounding bike. Ducatis, most of them sound pretty good, but it's not the same. When you're on a Harley, you just know it. And that's a different advantage over a sports bike. Sound, it's there. So what's something you should know if you decide to buy a Harley-Davidson? Another good point is the whole cleaning of the chain and lubing the chain. Because it's belt drive, don't have to worry about that. One less thing to service, one more advantage in favour of the Harley-Davidson. Okay, so obviously the tone of this video so far has been in favour of Harley-Davidson. Okay, let's not kick me in the guts too much. Obviously I ride one and I love it.
So now I'm going to point out something which I think is a sore point, a bad point about the Harley-Davidson. I'm starting off with the trickle charger. The first thing you do when you buy a Harley-Davidson is you buy the trickle charger to go with it. Because these bikes come with that fob, which is the alarm system, you can see that it's just flickering there. It drains the battery if you don't ride the bike, say, at least once a week or something. So as soon as I come home, straight into the garage, plug it in, and away we go, right? Okay, there's one thing. The batteries on these are worth about 150 bucks. I have got a video, if you look back, on how to replace the battery, if anyone's interested in that. The other thing I would say is that I was told is to always check the bike. You know, they tend to rattle themselves loose. And to be honest with you, the only thing that's ever sort of rattled with me has been, I think, this one, which I just tightened. But yeah, I go through the bike, I check it as I would normally. So there you go. I'm not totally one-sided. Yep, I love my bike, but battery, not really a big deal. Still a good point for the bike anyway.